In the top stories, the Ministry of Health says it is tightening screening implementing new border restrictions as St. Kitts and Nevis moves to guard against Ebola. Regionally, opposition leader Penelope Beckles is calling for stronger police oversight and body cameras in Trinidad and Tobago. And on the international scene, Israel is intensifying strikes across Lebanon as tensions with Hezbollah continue to escalate. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. I am Jasmine Thomas. The Ministry of Health says it is stepping up surveillance and screening measures as St. Kitts and Nevis moves to protect against the Ebola outbreak affecting parts of Africa. Health officials working alongside the Ministry of National Security are tightening screening at the country's ports of entry, particularly for persons arriving from countries considered high risk. As part of these precautions, 3 nationals identified through screening have been placed under quarantine at a private residence for 21 days, where they are being monitored by public health officials in line with international health protocols. Authorities stressed that none of the individuals are showing symptoms of Ebola. The ministry also advised that non-nationals who have recently visited high-risk countries will not be permitted entry into the Federation. Meanwhile, health officials are emphasizing that there are currently no suspected or confirmed cases of Ebola in St. Kitts and Nevis, and that the overall risk to the public remains low. Meanwhile, the government has responded to questions surrounding its decision to deny entry to Nigerian nationals, saying the move forms part of heightened public health measures linked to Ebola concerns. In a statement, authorities said non-nationals arriving from countries considered high risk will not be permitted entry as health officials work to reduce possible exposure to the virus. The government referenced a risk advisory from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which has warned of a high risk of Ebola importation due to continued transmission in parts of Africa and travel through major transport hubs. Officials noted that Nigeria has not recorded a confirmed case linked to the current outbreak, but said the advisory has informed local screening and border control measures. Health authorities have confirmed that there are no suspected or confirmed cases of Ebola in St. Kitts and Nevis, and said the overall risk to the public remains low. And St. Kitts and Nevis will join countries around the world on the 28th of May to mark Menstrual Hygiene Day under the theme Together for a Period-Friendly World. The global campaign, coordinated by Wash United, is encouraging governments, schools, workplaces, communities, and individuals to help create an environment where menstruation is treated as normal and free from stigma. Locally, Lake Health and Wellbeing, the Advancement of Children Foundation, the Nevis Department of Gender Affairs, and UNICEF Eastern Caribbean have been working since 2023 to deliver menstrual health education in schools and communities across the Federation. The program provides young people with accurate information about menstruation while encouraging greater understanding and support for women and girls. Organizers say menstrual health remains closely linked to education, dignity, and access to support, while stigma and misinformation continue to create challenges for many women and girls. They say the initiative is also helping young people feel more comfortable discussing menstrual health while improving access to accurate and reliable information. To mark Menstrual Health Hygiene Day, Lake Health and Wellbeing and the Nevis Department of Gender Affairs will host a webinar focused on supporting women and girls' menstrual health at home, at work, in school, and in the community. The organizations will also take part in radio discussions and social media awareness activities throughout the month. After the break, we bring you the regional segment of the news.
This week on In Focus, UNESCO has been a critical partner to St. Kitts and Nevis over the years, playing a vital role in advancing matters related to education, culture, gender, the environment, and much more. Eric Falt, the new director of the UNESCO Regional Office, joins us to share on the recently held SIM Caribbean Cybersecurity Training for older adults and young people. Dr. Paul Hector, advisor at the Regional Office, and Her Excellency Neree Stockery, Secretary General of the National Commission, will also stop by. Join us for In Focus on this station.
Welcome back. On the regional scene, opposition leader in Trinidad and Tobago, Penelope Beckles, is calling for major reforms to the country's police complaints authority, including greater independence and stronger investigative powers. Beckles said the body should be restructured along the lines of Jamaica's Independent Commission of Investigations, or INDICOM, which investigates deaths, injuries, and allegations of abuse involving security forces. She argues that a stronger oversight body would allow for faster access to crime scenes, better preservation of evidence, and greater accountability in cases involving police use of deadly force. Beckles also renewed calls for police body cameras to be made mandatory, saying the measure would help protect both members of the public and law enforcement officers. Their comments come amid continued debate over a police shooting in January that left 31-year-old Joshua Samaro dead and his common-law wife Kai Seeley facing criminal charges. Police alleged that Seeley fired at officers during the incident. She was later charged with several offenses, including manslaughter, and was also critically injured. Beckles has also criticized the government's decision to halt the procurement of police body cameras, arguing that it undermines transparency as the country continues to grapple with violent crime. And the regional meeting focused on border security, immigration, and customs modernization got underway in Antigua and Barbuda on Tuesday. The Congress has brought together chiefs of immigration and controllers of customs from across the Caribbean to discuss closer cooperation among CARICOM member states. Delegates are examining ways to strengthen border security, modernize immigration and customs systems, and improve how countries manage cross-border movement. The talks are also focused on better information sharing and more coordinated security procedures as regional governments respond to evolving security and migration challenges. The meeting, hosted in Antigua and Barbuda, is expected to help shape more coordinated approach to border management across the region. We now take a look at the international news. At least 31 people were killed in Lebanon on Tuesday as Israel carried out one of its heaviest waves of airstrikes since a ceasefire took effect in April. Lebanon's health ministry said the dead included children, with strikes reported across southern and eastern parts of the country. The Israeli military said it targeted more than 100 Hezbollah sites, including weapons, storage facilities, command centers, and fighters. The attacks followed comments by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said operations against Hezbollah would intensify. Netanyahu said Israeli forces were operating with large ground troops in southern Lebanon and moving to strengthen a security zone along the border. The violence has raised new concerns about the stability of the United States brokered ceasefire agreement. Local media in Lebanon reported that airstrikes hit several communities, including the village of Mashgara in the Bekaa Valley, where homes were destroyed overnight. Health officials said 11 people, including a woman and 2 children, were killed in that area alone. Meanwhile, Hezbollah said it targeted Israeli military positions in northern Israel, describing the attacks as a response to continued ceasefire violations. And health officials in Bangladesh say more than 500 children have died from suspected and confirmed measles cases since March. as the country grapples with a major outbreak. The Health Ministry reported more than 60,000 suspected cases in just over 2 months, with thousands of children still awaiting laboratory confirmation. Officials say hospitals, particularly in the capital Dhaka, have come under heavy pressure as families travel from rural communities seeking care. UNICEF said a combination of factors contributed to the outbreak, including gaps in the routine vaccination, high population density, and delays in securing vaccines. Bangladesh launched an emergency vaccination campaign in April, supported by international partners, in an effort to slow the spread of the virus. Officials say they expect new infections to decline as more children receive vaccines and community immunity improves. Measles is a highly contagious virus spread through coughing and sneezing and can be particularly dangerous for young unvaccinated children. We now take a look at the weather. Today will be partly sunny with brief cloudy spells and a 60% or moderate chance of brief passing showers. Shallow, low-level patches moving through a moderate to fresh wind flow could trigger periods of passing showers over and around the islands through the next 24 hours. Tonight, expect fair to partly cloudy skies with a 40% or moderate chance of a brief overnight shower. Temperatures will reach a high of 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit with an overnight low of 23 degrees Celsius or 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be from the east at 15 to 30 kilometers per hour or 9 to 18 miles per hour with lighter spells at times. Seas will range from 1.2 to 1.8 meters or about 4 to 6 feet. The sun will set this evening at around 6:40 and rise tomorrow morning at about 5:35. That brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. God bless you.